Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your palatable, digestible hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other palatable and digestible host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
I feel like you're like choosing words that are tongue twisters to like challenge yourself. I'm
But I
impressed.
don't, I only realize it in the moment.
Palatable,
I don't know what.
palatable,
Palatable?
palatable. Yeah, I mean you got it right. I was just impressed that like
Nailed it.
that's you
I
did.
mean, 90 episodes in, killing it now with the
Fucking A!
pronunciation.
Congratulations on 90 episodes or
Congratulations,
something.
90 episodes. Woo! As I'm
Yay!
sure everybody else at home is wishing for us as well now,
Yes, yes, yes. They
Um,
are.
but look at us go. Look
I
at
know,
us
right?
go. They said it couldn't be done, and look at us
Follow
go.
through with a bad idea to whatever.
To yeah, to right now, to
Right
doing
now.
to doing an episode on a topic like today's topic.
I know, right?
But hey, that's what we're here for. We're here about being
Uh-huh.
flexible.
Uh-huh.
Or
Uh-huh.
here to be flexible, so that also includes doing episodes and sandwiches. So, Beth, what is the crack with you?
Okay, so I'm gonna be a little all over the place. So I was talking to my therapist. I'm doing better
Uh-huh.
this week generally.
It's good.
Uh, and now I'm feeling better-ish. And now I'm like, Mike is back out of town again.
Good.
He's up in he's doing marine research, he's diving, and they're putting in like giant instruments up in Bodega Bay. Anyways,
Hmm.
so 2 weeks, maybe more, maybe less, who knows? So I was like, I'm by myself a lot, which normally I would like numb out on like bad TV
Hmm.
and nap, but like I'm really trying to nap and not numb out on watching TV. So I'm reading more and I'm like doing some self-reflection and
Hmm.
introspective stuff. But I was talking to my therapist and I was like, I don't know what I like to do. Like what the things I used to do, like I can't do anymore because like my things my body won't allow anymore, right?
Yep.
And I was like, I don't understand how Mike can like just decide to be done with like working on cars. Have I talked to you about this already?
I did not know this, no.
Yes. Okay, so he sold the truck. He sold his black car that he picked you up in
Yeah.
at the airport, and he's going to work on the other car and sell that. And he's just like, I'm done. I'm done. I want to do other things. And this, so
Wow.
like, as long as I've known him, he's always worked on cars and he's always had a car to work on. So for him to just be like, hey, I'm done with this aspect of my life completely. Like, he got an e-car through work. So we'll have two e-cars and
How
that's it.
fascinating.
And you know, right? And I'm like, well, what are you going to do with the rest of your time? Because that's like what he does. Like he goes
Hmm.
out in the garage and he works on the cars and that's his thing. And he's like, I don't know, like I have like 30 other things I'd rather be doing. And I'm like, and then I was like, well, do I? Like the kids are
Sure.
getting older, they're going to have more interest in doing other things. So I was talking to my therapist. Sorry, this is a long
No,
roundabout
no,
way.
it's interesting.
He's just so adept at change, like more so than any human I've ever met, that
Hmm.
it's like annoying.
Sure.
I'm annoyed. I love him and I'm jealous. I'm like, how do I get there? How do I get there where you're at? Right.
Yeah.
So my therapist said, so these are the questions, and maybe this will be helpful for other people that are like kind of like struggling with, finding new things. Like our bodies are getting older, you have to cut stuff out just because you can't do it anymore or whatever. Because you're busy running marathons and bird watching. So the
That's right.
questions are, what do I like?
Hmm.
What can I do? What
Hmm.
am I curious about?
Hmm.
And what am I willing to try?
Okay. I like it.
And like that last question, what am I willing to try? I was like, this is like I was like, I wrote it down, but I have a lot of fear around that.
Absolutely.
And she was like, good,
Yeah.
you should. Like, this is life. Like, wake yourself the fuck up a little bit. And so I journaled for the first time since September of last year, the
Nice.
other day. And I was like, just write something down that you're grateful for every day to get yourself like out of this like lump hole that you're in, right? Um, and so I've been doing that, but like that's I'm astonished because like I was a daily journaler, I was a daily yogi, and I
Hmm.
just kind of like couldn't or slept all that off. And now I'm like getting a little bit more back into it. It feels good in my body. It feels like not, I don't know, forced. And so I'm just, yeah, I'm if anyone has okay, sorry, this is really long.
No, it's
So then I was
interesting.
like, what am I interested in? And I've been following, sorry, Andy.
To be
I've been
sorry.
following this murder case in Long Island, the Gilgo Beach murder
Yeah, I've heard
serial
that
murder.
name.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
So I watched two documentaries about it in the last 2 weeks. Um,
You got like a confetti effect, a party effect there came from your screen. Yeah,
did
you
I do
did.
that?
It
Okay,
did
okay,
that, like
thank
all
you,
the
Sam.
confetti dropped. It was amazing. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. Um, so apparently, like it could read my emotions now. Yay.
Yeah.
So, because you know me in murder. So I'm like, I'm following this case. It hasn't like come to conclusion. Like
Uh-huh.
the guy that they think that it's done it, who's clearly done it. Um, he's been indicted, but not like, guilty. He's not even at trial. I don't know where that if that when that's going to happen because there's so many bodies that they keep finding. So then I was like, and they're talking about cadaver dogs and cadaver dogs and cadaver dogs and all these like volunteers that show up with their dogs that are trained to be cadaver dogs. And I was like, what is that about? Right. And
Uh-huh.
so, and then I was listening to this other podcast about this other murder. And this lady who like owns a cadaver dog, she's like, it's a good golden doodle. And she was like listing all these like facts about cadaver dogs and what they can do and why dogs are so good at like finding cadavers,
Uh-huh.
meaning dead bodies. So dogs have roughly 200 million olfactory receptors in their
Mm.
nose, making their sense of smell 40 times greater than that of the average human. This allows them to sniff out everything from bombs, drugs, the living, and like the difference between living and dead flesh to certain diseases, which I've read about Parkinson's, and they can even smell emotions.
Wow.
So all to say, like all the times that we're like, I'm stressed out and like I look at Star and she's like looking stressed out. I like need to I need to chill myself out a little bit. And also if I had the physical capability to do this kind of work,
Hmm.
volunteer work, I totally would.
That's fascinating.
I know.
It I want like do you think Star's got the right stuff to be a cadaver
I
dog?
mean, she really knows. Yeah, she does. She just she's short.
That's true, she is short. She be short. So one of the things, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before. I read a book. I actually read only part of it, but I think it was basically called Species, and it was basically going through the kind of like evolution of different species. So, for example, there was like a section on wheat and what wheat has become, you know, from
Yes.
its origins to
Like
what
why
it
we
is
can't actually eat
today.
it anymore, right?
Exactly, things like
Uh-huh.
that. And there was like also ones on animals, so there's ones on dogs. That was obviously what I was there for. I
Right.
don't think it was called species. I'll figure it out and I'll let you know. But one of the things they say with dogs is that they talk about the idea that humans and certain other creatures have this sense of self. They'll recognize themselves in a mirror and things like that.
Hmm.
But one of the theories behind dogs is that because like humans tend to think in very human-centric ways, so we think if something doesn't recognize itself in a mirror, then therefore it's not doesn't have a sense of self or whatever.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
one of the prevailing theories behind dogs is that their primary sense is in fact smell. So what they've done is similar tests where they've like frozen blocks of dog's pee and kind of had them sniff those, and they kind of react very differently to blocks of their own pee versus other dogs' pee. So they're thinking that they do have a sense of self. It's just tied to a different sense, different sort of like concept of what they are as a kind of being. Um, which I thought was very interesting. I'm getting absolutely blinded here, so I'm
You
going to
are. I was like, you look angelic.
heavenly. Yeah,
It's
bear with me.
actually so it's sunny out today, huh?
Yeah, it is, but it's like, oh, it's a bit much. Ben, can you, or Ben? Ben, can you
Yes,
vamp for me for a second,
I
please?
can. I can. That
Thanks.
was
Hang
actually
a
the
sec.
name. That was the name of my ex-husband. So, that's a Freudian slip on Andy's part. I just told the listeners something that you didn't know.
Oh no, is it? Well, I find out. I'll find out in the
And
edit, I suppose.
you will find out in the edits. Yep.
Um, I, I mean, we're extra lucky today. I got sun on my face. I'm drinking beer.
Yeah,
Uh,
man,
right.
summer.
Let's
What time
go.
what time is it your time?
It's five, always 5 o'clock somewhere. It's like 10 to 6 in the evening. So
Yeah,
like
that's fine.
we're all
It's so light
good.
out. I
I mean,
know.
like after midday is good for drinking. Okay.
Okay. Also, okay,
Hmm.
what's the current, sorry,
Yes.
what's the crack with you? And I do have an occurrence.
Okay, so there actually. So I had and it's actually been quite nicely done. I don't know if it was done intentionally. I'm getting ahead of myself. I was away for the weekend
Uh-huh.
at with some friends. I think I told you this in Donegal. Really beautiful part of the world. It's a place called Downings. I've never been before. If you're ever back over, I must show you guys it. I mean, like there's a lot of Ireland that's beautiful. But we went up there. It's very northern. It's probably one of the most northerly parts of Donegal. And like because of the nature of the kind of landscape, the layout of the landscape, there's lots of like little sort of inlets and kind of and like whenever the tide goes in and out, you'll see these big sandbanks appear and things like that. It's really beautiful. Um, one of my friends from the group that we were away with, him and his family have owned a place there for basically his entire life. He's like, I've been coming here since I'm 3 years old, and we've talked about going down there, and this was the first time we did it. It was really stunning. Um, and such a, and I, it's such a great group of guys and a group of guys that I always whose company I always enjoy. And it was just such a fun weekend of laughing and being silly and just like spending time in their company. So it was so lovely.
I'm so glad.
It was great. I was just like it's like my holiday to Canada is just that sort of net like there was a lot of nebulous just time where I'm just like get to like hang out rather than I'm like oh, I need to get this thing done or I need to get this thing done. So it was so
Yep.
nice. And
Yep.
again, like it's so many of those guys now have kids and stuff now. So like it's it's harder to do, but we still try to do it like once a year and it's always like such a treat. One of the things that we were doing, so a lot of this will take some explaining, but like um out of the six of us that were away, four of the guys are from Tyrone, and Tyrone is part of Northern Ireland. It's one of the counties, okay?
Okay.
And they are very county proud. I think, and I'll get shouted at because some of them listen to this. I think nominally tongue in cheek, but also they do actually have pride in their county. So there's a lot of like fun stuff with that. So for example, Kieran, one of my friends who was there, um, he had on a t-shirt that said Tyrone Power, and it had a picture of the actor Tyrone Power, who was Zorro. And got loads of comments from that, and it was amazing. It was an incredible t-shirt and very, very funny. My other friend Cahill, and he was angry at me because you've met him before. You met
Yeah.
Cahill, right?
Love him. Love him.
So he was angry because we didn't mention his name before. So Cahill. I hope you're happy now. Anyway, um, so he had made stickers for us, right? And the idea with the stickers was that we were going to like stick them in bathrooms and things like that, and they were just like daft things like the Incredible Hulk saying for fuck's sake, a like one that said Nirvana and then had the picture like a picture from a Pearl Jam album underneath it. And finally, my favorite one, and the one that I wish I had, which was a sticker that said Tyrone is for lovers and had a heart next to it, right? Literally, as you were talking earlier, do you know what I spotted?
What? I saw you turn and look, and I was like, what's that
Because
about?
I noticed it and
Because
I
you
was
were
like,
like,
what the hell is that? And I looked around and I was like, God damn it, they got me. So I have a Tyrone is for Lovers sticker in
on your
frame
board
for the
game.
podcast. I don't know that that was intentional, but if
Good
it
job,
was
Call.
extreme. I don't think it was Cahill that did it. I think it was one of our other friends, Gav, but it was very, very well done. So yeah, but really nice weekend. I can't handle booze anymore.
Oh, that's okay.
It's fine. I definitely was suffering the night on the Sunday, but
Yeah,
it was really good fun, and we didn't go as heavy as we would have in the past. So yeah, a good time away, I must say.
you were definitely posting booze photos, and I was like, yeah, buddy.
That wasn't just
And it,
me. Because
I
like
know.
basically they people got hold of my phone and that's what happens, So,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's fine. They never do anything out of line, for the most part anymore, I would say. So,
Anymore.
yeah,
Out of line for the most part anymore.
yeah, like yeah, talk myself down from that.
Yeah, right.
But
That
yeah,
sounds great.
so it was good fun. So
Good.
that's been what's occurring with me, or so what the crack is with me. What is has been occurring, Beth, of late?
Okay, so apparently someone is upset that I undersold. I didn't, I just regurgitated what they said. So someone said, I feel very understood that the comment above regarding your arms and
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
tank top, and Andy deserves so much more. So I
Hmm.
hope there are decent veterinary specialists in Carrickfergus because those pythons look sick.
Oh my God. Thank
So
you.
there,
I appreciate it. That's
yeah,
very
yep,
kind.
yep, there you go.
Um, as people know about me, I handle compliments with grace
Somebody else was
and
like,
aplomb.
yeah, he's like the Northern Irish version of Pedro Pascal. So I think people
Nice.
just want to see your arms
All
more.
right, okay. Well,
Give the people what they want.
I'll see what I can do, especially over the summer. I did buy more tank tops when I was away in Canada, so
Okay. Which is ironic.
it's true. Yeah, it's true. I think that's why I got them for so cheap, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my what's occurred is I was scolded about this. I think probably rightfully so. On the
Okay.
episode when we were both talking about our holidays, our respective holidays,
Hmm.
I neglected to emphasize that we saw a blue heron on
Yes.
our travels. We
Was it the
had
great blue heron?
yes,
Okay.
and
Those are the big ones.
we went to Bird Sanctuary and we chatted to the lady there who didn't know about blue herons. Or sorry, didn't know about grey herons, which are the herons that we have, and we had a lovely big discussion about there. But there was a distinction about them, and it was to do with their thighs, but I can't remember now, so I'm going to be in trouble again.
No, no, I
Anyway.
remember. So it was something along the lines of because I think I was tagged on this. Great blue herons have bigger thighs
Hmm.
than gray herons.
Okay. I mean, like, we love to hear it, right?
Yeah.
So I just like I gotta be staring at heron thighs for the next few
Yeah.
days just to kind of
Well,
like
then I was
lock
like, what
that
other
in.
birds have giant like thighs, right? So then I
Yeah,
was like, well, the greater, I think I was like the greater egret, the white birds,
I think
they
you're
have
right.
enormous thighs.
They do, they do.
So yeah, and I think those exist in Canada
I
because
believe so. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I love it.
Anyways, so
So
bird
yeah,
thighs, check them out.
check out birth thighs, everybody.
Yeah, put that on
Uh,
your For You on TikTok.
exactly. So moving on to today's subject. Let
Yep.
let it never be said that we don't, listen to our fans. We have
Yes.
asked in the past if anybody has had requests for episodes,
Yes.
and this is the request that we get. So this is what you're getting, all right?
Right.
An episode called The Big Sandwich, where we talk about sandwiches. I got a number of other suggestions for episode topics, every one of them unusable
Okay.
for a variety of reasons. And this was the only one that I could pick out from all the terrible suggestions. So here we are,
Fabulous. All
talking
right.
about sandwiches.
And
Beth.
let it be known,
Uh-huh.
well, I guess like we'll see, but that we can talk about any topic. You and I can talk about
Mhm.
any topic.
Oh, I've got some pretty good sandwich questions, I think.
I do too.
Okay,
I
sweet.
was like, I went down this like as I was cadaver dogging, I was going down the sandwich hole too. So
I mean,
rabbit hole.
there's some pretty divisive
There
subjects
are,
in
it's like a whole thing. People
Yep,
are
yep.
so like I I was driving Mike to the airport yesterday and like I was like, here's our topic. Like, what do you think? And he's like, I think it was like the first time he was ever like actually interested. Like he's always like, oh yeah, you should talk about. But he was like, we're driving, and he was like, oh yeah, like this and this, and then like 10 minutes later he'd be like, and this sandwich,
Hmm.
and is
Hmm.
that even a sandwich? And this sandwich, and then like 10 minutes later,
Exactly.
because it's like an hour to the airport. So he was like super into it.
Okay,
Anyways,
I love it.
so
Okay, so I mean, I guess. You know
We
what?
gotta
Let's kick it off in a
we
nice way.
yeah,
Yeah. To ask Beth, what is your do you have a favorite sandwich? And if so, what is it?
I do have a favorite
Hmm.
sandwich. It's called the Ashe Frite.
Hmm.
And we get it in, well, I've never had one outside of Maria. But there's this little guy that has this little shack that always has baby chickens. Uh, and so Ashe Frite is a French sandwich.
Yeah.
So it's a baguette with a
Yeah.
hamburger, French
Hmm.
fries, and barbecue sauce
Burger, French fries, barbecue sauce, amazing. Okay, I like
on
it.
a baguette,
Oh, that
not a
sounds good.
hoagie.
Yeah.
And it's like a French baguette. Like it's not, the American baguettes are heavy and like full of dough.
Yeah.
French baguettes are like it's
Crispy,
more,
small.
yeah, it's more
Yep.
about like the exterior is it's like it's a vessel for
Yeah.
jam and or hamburger and French fries and barbecue sauce. So that is my favorite sandwich I've ever had.
That's a good one. I like all of my sandwich choices are kind of horrifying these days because I'm not really eating
Ooh.
meat as much. So I'm going to talk about one probably my favorite sandwich back in the day, and it's a horror show. So basically, it is in a baguette again because I think it's like king of bread. I fucking love a baguette. I mean, I love bread generally, but baguettes are fantastic. So I
Mhm.
used to get back in the day, a real health food fanatic, me. So I would get a baguette with a southern fried chicken breast fillet chopped up in it, potato salad, lettuce, tomato, and covered in ketchup.
That actually sounds really good.
It's really fucking good. I do really miss that sandwich. But it was just like afterwards you'd be like, and I would eat that, in my work day, and I'd be like, oh my God, oh kill me now. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right, right.
I can't do this anymore. I so like
That sounds like a fart waiting to happen.
oh, absolutely. It's just a disaster. But again, it used to love it. And it's back in the 20s where, you just like eat food and it
Whatever.
just your body's just like, yeah, whatever, just give me fuel. I don't give a fuck what it is.
Mhm, mhm. I'll
So I
burn
could
it off.
yeah, I'll burn this shit off. You don't worry about it. You get back to drinking beer, whatever you're doing, you fat fuck, Um, but now it's hard to say because I eat sleep fish and I do love like a tuna fish sandwich. I really love like a kind of like tuna mayo with like some peppers and onions and things like that. I think it's really
Mhm.
delicious.
Yep.
Um, so like if I had and it's something I've been thinking about making again recently, like a kind of pulled mushroom sandwich, like mushroom kind of like marinated and like kind of like that as a kind of base in like a spicy sauce is a favorite sort of veggie one of recent years, and I do love mushrooms so much. But yeah, I think if I go back to the well, like over time, and what the thing that I can still enjoy is a kind of a tuna sandwich. Like even whenever I was in like Taiwan and I was in Asia, a lot of the sandwiches you could get were like on really sweet bread.
Yeah.
And it was just like a very different experience. And they were fine. Most of them I didn't like, I must say, but they were fine. But if I wanted to get like a regular sandwich, Subway was my only option, and a Subway tuna was just, So
You went
it holds
that's brave to go. I
right.
like ordering tuna or like shrimp generally is like that's a roll of the dice.
That's true. That's true.
You're
I
living dangerously.
I think though that the quality of Subway stuff, I think it's really has declined. But even when I was eating meat, the quality of their meat was not good. So like even back then for me, it was kind of tuna was like felt like the better option, and like it felt nominally healthy compared to
Yes.
like just
The meatball
big
sub,
slices
which
of,
is
yeah, meatball
amazing.
sub or big slices of ham.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So
Mhm.
there's debates over what a sandwich is.
Yes.
So, the definition on Wiki is a sandwich is a dish typically consisting of various meat, cheese, sauces, and vegetables used as filling between slices of bread or placed atop a slice of bread, or more generally, any dish which bread serves as a container or wrapper for another type of food and
Mhm.
allows it to be finger food. The sandwich began as a portable, convenient food in the Western world, and over time it's become prevalent worldwide. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm sorry, but like there's like this hot debate on the internet and Reddit over whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich or hamburger?
Yes, that was two of the big questions I had. I think so. My first thought on that is I think there's a good argument for a hamburger being a sandwich. I mean, like, I think the full name for a hamburger is a hamburger sandwich, like originally is what it was called. So I think it technically is, and you can make a good argument and probably say that a hamburger is a sandwich. I think saying a hot dog is a sandwich it should be illegal and you should go to jail and or a mental asylum.
Seriously?
No,
But
not
it's
really.
like,
I
it's
was
just
just
like,
taking an fun extreme position.
okay, okay. I was like, whoa, Andy, we hit a nerve.
No, I don't really care.
Uh,
Uh,
I do.
you
I
do care?
care
Okay,
very
okay.
much. So like I was like, well, so we're Mike and I were arguing about like what makes a sandwich in the car, and I was
Hmm.
like, what about a crepe? And he's like, no, that's a pancake. And
Yeah,
I'm like, but is it? Like, because it's like if you're talking about containers, right?
yeah.
So I think that a hot dog is in its own category.
I think you're right. I think because like I've also heard other sort of like insane arguments where people are like, is a taco a sandwich? Is a burrito a sandwich? And I
Yeah.
think no. Like I think wrap is the better if you're going to categorize them, wrap is better. But like I think no. I think bread, and as I say, like actual bready bread, so something with substance rather than like a thinly pressed wrap needs to be involved, which is why a hot dog is in the mix. But
Paninis too.
yeah,
Tortas.
tortoise, yeah, are definitely a sandwich.
So,
Have you,
um,
a banh mi? Oh, banh mi.
that's on my list. A good
Yeah.
banh mi sandwich.
Oh,
Okay, explain what a banh mi sandwich is, because you've probably eaten way more than I have.
I have. I might do a bad job because it's been years since I've had one, but they are like so. But essentially, and it's interesting
It's on a
because
baguette, right?
it is on a baguette. So like, it's interesting actually because like I've seen a little bit of I've had a little bit of experience with this. Just you know, there's a lot of colonization in Asia with both like Portugal and France and all sorts of different sort of European countries. So like as a result, you see this like smattering of European influence over the foods, and that's exactly what it is. It's a Vietnamese sandwich, but it's like filled with like much more Asian. So like pickled carrots and things like that, and like you'll get like
There's
pork.
spicy.
Yeah, spicy stuff as well. So like
Mm,
way more interesting fillings than your standard baguette. They're absolutely delicious. Like I say, I haven't had one in years because most of them are meaty in my experience, but oh, a banh mi is hard to beat. It's just because it's like it's so flavorful in a way that European sandwiches often aren't. There's a lot more
yeah,
going on
yeah,
texturally.
yeah.
Like there's a sweetness to it, there's a vinegariness to it, that's just yeah, oh,
And you eat one
delicious.
and you don't feel like you need a nap after, like you feel like
Exactly.
you've just eaten something healthy, even though it's a sandwich on a baguette. I don't know.
The other thing as well, I don't think I know that I've mentioned this before. The other one that like I really loved because it was particularly relevant to my time in Asia was that Taiwan was occupied by Portugal for many years, and as a result, they have not sandwiches, but they have like the Portuguese custard tarts are everywhere in that country.
Ugh,
Like there's so much of it. Just that was the kind of lasting legacy, which I thought was so fascinating.
I I mean, I'm not for colonization
No,
ever, but like when you get to go to one place and then also eat something that is from another place, and it's like the best of both worlds.
it's true, and also seeing their like twist on it as well. It's really fantastic.
Mhm. So, do you guys have like pre-made sandwiches in grocery stores?
Yes.
Is that is that a thing?
So I'd say it's the more common thing. Like that's really interesting because it's something I was thinking about recently. Like I think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, it's more common to like go to a deli or whatever and have a freshly made sandwich in the US, which
Yes.
absolutely happens here, and there are plenty of sandwich shops that will do that. But I think a more common experience for a sandwich is something that's pre-packaged in like a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, something like that. And you
Hmm.
also get like so there's a whole thing in this country. This is like everybody in the UK will know this too well, but we have like meal deals. Do you know about this? Where it's
Yeah,
like people will
no,
get like a sandwich, they will get a bag of crisps or
gotcha.
chips, as
Hmm.
you Americans call them, and like a drink of some kind, and that will all be like inexpensive. So maybe like $4 or $5 for that. And that's just lunch for like a lot of people, you know. But like, you know, and I do it sometimes because it's like if I'm in a rush or if I'm eating on the go, like I literally ate lunch in my car yesterday on the way to a dog walk. I just get a meal deal because I can eat that and drive, you know, and
Yeah,
it's not a great lunch, but it's sustenance, you know, and oftentimes it's not like too bad. It's not too bad, you know. So yeah, it's definitely prepackaged sandwiches are a really big thing here.
yeah. I mean, we have prepackaged sandwiches in stores and like, I don't know. And we have Subway, like Subway was a big thing. It's a big thing still.
Yeah,
Quiznos, did you guys ever have Quiznos?
very briefly. Whenever they
And
had the
that's
big expansion, yeah,
Yeah, so they went big because they were like, we can toast your sandwich, right? And they had
yeah,
a pepper bar
yeah.
and really weird. Do you remember the commercials?
I do with the wee
It,
creatures with the big mouths and the eyes and stuff.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yes, yes. That was like genius marketing because I
yeah.
still remember we got a pepper bar.
Yes.
Um, so but then like everyone else was like, oh, you can buy a toaster,
And it's
right?
like, oh fuck, that was
Yeah,
all
and
we
then
had.
that's all we had. So Quiznos, I don't even know the last time I saw one, just like American Apparel, like they just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Because they were a big deal. It was one because we did have some here, but it only
Okay.
lasted briefly. But
Uh-huh.
it was they were like really on their ascendancy when I was in Korea, and the one in Korea was a really good sandwich that I got a lot. Like so, because like they had interesting combos before against Subway, then just introduced all the shit they had and just completely destroyed them.
Exactly.
But like
Yep.
they had guacamole first. So that you could get guacamole and turkey and things like that. It was just like fun combos that like Subway wouldn't have. But again, then Subway just added all those things and like
Yeah.
nobody went back to Quiznos.
Nope. Nope. So do you prefer, like if you make a sandwich at home, would you
Hmm.
cut it in like a triangle or like in half? How do you cut your sandwiches?
Oh, that's a good question.
This is probably like on some psychology's paper, someone wrote a thesis and got their PhD based on this question.
I think I would probably
Eh,
cut it as a triangle now, most commonly, yeah.
Why?
I don't, I think that's how I encounter them in the world, how they're pre-packaged to me. I also think that I'm going to get into the woods a wee bit here. We
Go.
have these things called toasty machines, which I don't know if you guys have them the same, but like it's basically you could you make a sandwich and you put it in this toasty machine and you would heat it up and it would get really crispy in a like uh what's the word I'm looking for?
Is it like a panini toaster?
Kind Not really. It kind of like shapes
Okay.
it in a way. So it's like your regular slice of bread. It doesn't flatten it down. It shapes it in a way. So like it basically cuts it in half like a triangle. So that's crispy down that sort of edge, but and crispies up the edges as well and seals everything in. And they're fantastic. But I think because that they most commonly come in a triangle form factor, so that also maybe kind of leads me to doing that, you know.
Hmm. So like you're an adult, you're not a child, you eat the crust off the bread.
Oh, it's absolutely it, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
It's
know.
the
It's
best
such a
bit.
waste. I know. The kids never do. And I'm like, you don't even know. It's
You're
Dave's
missing
Killer
out.
Bread. That's where all the good stuff is.
Yeah.
9 grains, man.
Hmm.
I will another favorite not this isn't just an episode to talk about your Python arms.
Well, what a
I also
shame.
want
That'll
to
be next. That's next
I
week's.
know. I want to talk about your cooking
Okay.
because you made me some like I
Oh
don't
yeah.
my mom is like she like remembers experiences through food.
Hmm.
So she'll be like, "Oh, remember when we ate that thing at this place, right?" And that's like instead of like the experience of the place, it's like the food that she ate. She's total foodie. Obsessively. And like also like as she's eating will like make noises about the food that she's eating and how
Hmm.
good it is and you're just like shut the fuck up, let me enjoy my sandwich. But So, anyways, your kimchi and Irish cheddar
Yep.
on a
Toasties.
bagel, a
Oh,
gluten-free
bagel.
bagel
Hmm.
was so fucking good. I remember like it was like my last day visiting and I was like, "Girl, like you're going ham on this." And I did. I was like, "Do you have more kimchi? Because I
Yeah.
think I need to use all of it." You're like,
Yeah.
"Yes, there's more, or make more, or whatever." Just and it was like the thickest Irish cheddar.
Yeah.
Is it like Dubliner or whatever, which we now buy at Costco because it's so fucking good. Like I'm salivating talking about it. And I
It
was like sad to leave, not just like sad to leave you, but also sad to leave the kimchi and
the
cheese
cream cheese
toasty.
toasty, yeah. It's a pretty incredible sandwich. That is probably my favorite modern sandwich because that is something I can eat as a vegetarian now that I mention it.
Yep.
I do love it
Yep.
so much.
It's so
Um,
fucking good.
it's interesting because like the whenever we went to Calgary, Katie's friends that we met, they had like one of the couple had only like left the UK, I think 8 months or so ago, or their last trip out there was something like that anyway, was like that. And they had a block of cheese that they bought in the UK that they brought out with them because they hate the cheese in Canada so
Yes,
much.
it's a thing. Like I'm obsessed with Tillamook cheese, which
Yes,
is originates out of Oregon. And like the only reason I agreed to move to California, like this place, Mike was like at Albertsons, he's like, they have your wine and they have Tillamook cheese. And I was
perfect.
like, that's it. That's all I need. That's all I
Both.
need. A brick of cheddar. It's so fucking good and strong, like sharp cheddar. You guys
You,
have good
yeah,
cheeses.
we do. I mean, I think cheese in the UK is pretty freaking good. Like
Yeah.
overall, I mean, cheese in Europe is pretty good. I think that yeah, like I've tried Tillamook cheese, but like I have experienced like standard grocery stuff in both Canada and the US, and it's yeah, it's not good.
No,
It's just
no,
not good at all.
no.
Um,
So,
mhm.
so, I guess what is the perfect cheese? Do you guys eat grilled cheese sandwiches? Is that a thing? Like for
Not
us, it's grilled cheese and tomato soup.
I know of that combo, and I don't think grilled cheese sandwiches are as common as like they're not a staple here, like the same way they would be for you guys.
Mm.
Um, like I know people do them, and I think that like in that toasting machine thing I told you about, people would make cheese sandwiches in that, and they're a different sort of thing than a standard grilled cheese. But so they're not as common, but they definitely some people do eat them. I mean, like obviously I eat them, you know.
That's one of my favorite combinations.
I do not know that I've ever done that.
Oh my fucking God.
I know. I
Do you
need to
guys
get
have
on
like
that.
Campbell's tomato soup?
We do.
So you just get a can of that and then make a grilled cheese sandwich and then you dip the fucking sandwich in the soup
Maybe we'll
and
do
then you
that.
eat it and then it's maybe with a big glass of milk too. It's so good.
Should I maybe make my? I mean, like I've been. I always like. I'm always trying to make new soup, so maybe make a tomato soup and do that. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I love it. So, one of the things that I kind of love is well, the other thing I wanted to talk about before we move on from that subject is also that like you know peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are such an American thing as well. They're just not
Yes.
like, and I think the concept of it has been introduced in movies and things like that, so people are aware of it, but it's just not a thing people commonly do. It's incredible once I
We don't even
discovered it.
call them peanut butter and jelly anymore. They're just PBJs.
BBJs, yeah, I love it.
PBJs. I'm like, you guys want a PBJ? They're like, okay.
Love it.
And
So
then
good.
now they want them on bagels, not
Hmm,
Dave's Killer Bread, which
I
is
can see that.
fine. Yeah.
Like it's a
So
way messier experience on a bagel, but they're pretty delicious.
yeah. Well, and a bagel's like, I don't know. There's something about a good like
Oh,
everything bagel. Oh my God. Um, so I would, yeah, I would not challenge you, but like if you want to eat something that's nummy, do the grilled cheese. And
okay.
like I use Tillamook cheddar, but like if you really want the grilled cheese experience, like get something like Wonder Bread and American cheese.
God, no.
It's so good. It's so good. Have a little
So
weed and then eat that and then tell me I'm wrong.
done.
Because you'll be like, you're not, you're right. I'll be like, I know.
Um, so I was trying to think of like there's regional names for sandwiches in the US. And so things like it's hard for me to talk about them without
Like a
spoiling what I'm
Philly
talking about.
cheesesteak.
But more specifically, like if you go to one place, you'll maybe get um like a filled like what would I even call them? Like a baguette, I guess. But if you go somewhere else, it'll be like a hoagie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was gonna try to see if I could, or like obviously like a po' boy and things like that. I was gonna see if
Oh,
I
I
could get you
forgot
to.
about po'
Oh,
boys.
so good. Um,
Yeah, man. That's a southern, like deep south
yeah,
southern
yeah.
food. So you'll get a po' boy. Po' boy is like, I guess it's like it's a hoagie. Hoagie's different than a baguette in that
Hmm.
it's bigger. Like I
Yes.
don't know if you see those um like it's like football commercials where it's like the Subway sandwich and it's huge. It's like 6 feet long or whatever.
Hmm,
Like
hmm.
that's a hoagie. Um, but sorry, there's a crow drinking out of the pool right now. I'm
Oh,
so
exciting.
excited. He's waving at me, not really. He's ignoring me. Oh, there's two. Haha, my plan is working.
Kind of hard to get.
So yeah, so like a po' boy is like a sandwich that has deep fried food on it.
Oh, okay. Yep, yep, yep.
So like you'll get like a crawfish po' boy is like big in the South or like a shrimp po' boy. So it's like deep fried food in a sandwich, which is never a bad idea. Now there's three
Absolutely
crows.
not. I so one of the things was I was going to ask you about was one of the things I kind of fucking love. Like, everything's valid, everybody has a reason for love and stuff, but I love when there's the really kind of bitter feuds over things. Like
Uh-huh.
stuff that
I
seems
do
really
too.
pointless to me. So
Yes.
like, do you know about the Taylor ham versus pork roll thing in New Jersey? No? Oh, have you frozen? Hello, hello, hello. You back? Hello. Hello, hello.
You
I
there?
lost you for a second. Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm gonna make a note of this and we can just
Yep.
restart.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Don't even worry about it. Okay. All right, going to reset. Okay, because I was gonna ask you a question. So, okay. So, do you know about the Taylor ham and pork roll thing
No.
in New Jersey?
No.
Okay, so it's broadly the same. Well, and this is probably heretical me saying this. It's broadly the same sandwich, but it's basically this kind of processed pork product and egg, I think, or cheese, no, or cheese, basically between white bread. But there's a division like basically the north half calls it. I may be getting this the wrong way. No, the north half calls it Taylor ham, and the south half of Jersey calls it pork roll, and it's a real like cultural clash thing. And they're functionally the same sandwich, right?
Yeah. It's like soda or pop.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
But it's so funny to me how, you know, like, apparently it is things people, I don't know if people will get into it seriously, but people, it is a bone of contention amongst people that whether you're like, and I think it like really kind of broadly identifies where you're from, which obviously has connotations for like any place in the world, you know.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, I thought that was fascinating and very funny. And I did mention it to my friend who lives in Jersey, and he was like, just like rolled his eyes, was like, yeah.
It's something we argue about.
That's a thing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, okay. So just to go back to like hoagies versus po' boys, they're also grinders is another term for that same type of sandwich. And I don't know if it's like regional or not. It must be, right? Um, but yeah, so I think people use those def like they use hoagies and grinders and po' boys as a way to like allow the hot dog back into the sandwich culture.
that makes sense. I like it.
Okay, so I want to talk about layering.
Okay.
So layered is one of the latest addition So making things this is like a new thing, making sure that things are layerable.
Hmm.
So this prevents foods such as hot dogs and meatball subs, aka grinders or hoagies, from making it through the pearly sandwich gates. Um,
Amazing.
I know. So um it's basically I have a hard time with this. My mom used to make these things called trucker specials, which I really didn't like because it was an open face sandwich where it was
Hmm.
like a piece of bread that she would toast and then put like cheese and like a fried egg and some avocado on it and then
Okay.
serve that up to me. And I was like, where's the other fucking piece of bread? I wouldn't say that because I was a child and I was
Sure, sure, sure.
respectful.
But you'd be
But
like,
like that's not to me, that's not a sandwich.
you'd feel robbed. That is,
I feel raw. I'm like, it would be so much. Now I have to use a knife and fork. I'm not Japanese. Like, so Mike
I
said, he was like, the Japanese, like, I noticed that they eat their sandwiches with a knife and fork. And I was like, well, they don't really touch their food, right? So that makes sense.
the open face sandwich is fairly heretical, honestly, because it really doesn't define any sort of like the fact that it's called a sandwich. It doesn't
Yeah.
meet any of the
No,
criteria.
no,
That's
like I'm more
interesting.
mad about that than about like the hot dog
That's fair. That's fair.
conversation.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
So I would say an open face sandwich is not a sandwich,
Um, and it also reminds me of one of my favorite Simpsons jokes,
which
where
is
Homer's doing is caddying for Monty Burns, and he goes, "Give me an open face club, a sandwich," and Homer goes, open face club sandwich." It's so good. Anyway,
Must have
the
been
other
Conan
one,
O'Brien.
yeah,
I
that,
said it
that
must have
is
been Conan.
absolutely your peak Conan O'Brien days. That one for sure. Um, so the other one I wanted to tell you about that occurred to me was a Oh no, Francescina. I can't remember how to pronounce it exactly. It's a Portuguese sandwich. Right, check
Ooh,
this out in terms of it defying what a sandwich can be. So essentially, it is set up like a sandwich initially. So it's like bread, ham, sausage, steak, roast meat, something like that. Another piece of bread, sometimes a fried egg on top of that, then smothered in a melted cheese, tomato, and beer sauce,
sounds amazing.
right? And served with French fries. So the time that I did have it, it was like that, a pull of the sauce, and French fries just all around the outside. You had to obviously eat this with a knife and fork because it was
Absolutely. That
fairly
messy.
messy.
Yeah.
It was like nice, but it was like one of these things that like the first bite you're like, oh, this is good as hell, and then like three bites in, you're like, I think I might be done with this. I think I've kind of had enough. It was like I know you guys don't really have kebabs as such. It's like the kebab experience in this country. You like eat a bite of kebab, with kebab meat, the freshly cut up kebab meat, and you're like, where has this been all my life? This is all I want to eat forever. And then you're like halfway through it, and you're like, I think I'm just gonna throw the rest of this in the trash.
Yeah. It's like when I eat Chinese food and it's like I eat as much as I can and then an hour later I'm like I feel
Oh
like crap for an
no.
hour and then I'm like I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, um so okay. Sorry, I'm finding I have notes.
It's quite all right.
So I guess to go back to layering, it's like basically the point that they're making is because I lost my point. Now I found
Oh
it.
yes. Thank
Uh,
you.
if you take away the bread, basically, and you still have like, the lettuce and the tomato and the bacon or whatever for your BLT, like those things are not a sandwich.
Yes.
When you add the bread, they are. So, uh, basically, I just want to talk about BLTs.
Hey, I'm here for it.
So, like, I always forget that I have all the ingredients for these things, and they're so fucking good with
Hmm.
mayonnaise and bacon, lettuce, and tomato. Or what's the other one? BLTA, and you add avocado to it too. And it's like, it
Oh,
is
uh-huh.
so good. So good.
I I never like when I was eating meat. I think I only had them once or twice just because like I sometimes find lettuce annoys me. And also like lettuce, I think, unless
When you like
handled,
take a bite and then the whole thing comes out and you're
yeah.
like trying to like shove like politely shove it all in your mouth and yeah.
I think also like a lot of the lettuce we get in this country is fairly terrible. Like it's just the real trashy shit. And it's like the big, wet, flavorless lettuce. And I think I've discovered in my recent years that there's a lot nicer lettuce out there, you know. So like I never had one that I really love. So yeah, but I think that certainly I remember the bacon and avocado combo being absolutely killer. I think one of the things, and it's interesting because I don't know why I was listening to something about this recently. They were talking about the McDLT. Do
Yes.
you know about this? So like what it was unique for was that they had a container that had the cold side of the ingredients in on one bun and the hot ingredients in the other bun, so that whenever you like put it
Put them
together,
together.
the lettuce was still crisp and right. And this was like a thing in the 80s or something like that. And I thought that was such an interesting because like I think that is maybe kind of my problem with lettuce sometimes as well, is that like either it's overwhelming and flavorless or it's like the heat has just kind of withered it down to, something
Yeah.
that's just filler, you know?
Yeah. You have to like when you're making a sandwich, you have to add something like a barrier. Like if I make the kids like a turkey and like cheese and spinach sandwich,
Hmm.
because I want them to get their spinach
I love it.
surreptitiously. Like I'll have to put the cheese, I put the cheese in the middle as the divider so that like because I usually do it the night before so
Hmm.
that the turkey doesn't wilt the spinach, which happens. So it's like that how you put it together actually matters, and you can put it together in ways where the lettuce won't wilt.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love it. Like I say, it's just, I mean, and it's just not something like I'll buy a sandwich. I had a sandwich today, but it was kind of made for me. And like most of the time when I'm making a sandwich these days, I will like um get one of those that we you can get like partially cooked baguettes and you can just finish them off in the oven. So like
Uh-huh.
I love a fresh oven baguette in a sandwich, and that's the only time I'll really do it at home because like I think my preference in food is if I can have something hot, I will, which is why I prefer soups and like
Yep.
with some breads I can dip it into or like a dal, like I made a dal recently. So I think that's why, I don't eat as many sandwiches as I think a lot of people do, and if I do, it's a kind of a desperation play and
Yeah,
it's not my favorite thing.
totally. It's weird. Like I used to eat sandwiches much more often, like paninis and I don't know, like college, like whatever I could get on my student card and whatever restaurants were available.
Hmm.
I make sandwiches for the kids, but like I don't eat gluten anymore because I can't.
Of course,
And like the bagels that you had like rocked my world. They were so fucking good. I
they
came
were
back and
good.
I found them, but I can't find a good gluten-free bread. I can't.
Oh,
I
really?
can't. Yeah,
That's
no.
disappointing.
They're all hockey pucks. And it takes the joy out of it. And
Yeah,
like sometimes like if I'm not feeling well, like Michael would be like, I'll make you grilled cheese. And I'm like, okay. Because it's
yeah,
like that's what like, your mom would make when you were sick was like grilled cheese and tomato soup or like chicken noodle or
yep,
whatever.
yep, yep.
But I can't eat that either because it's got the gluten.
Of
So
course.
it's kind of like raining on my Ashe Freit parade. Like I can't go and see the guy with the baby chickens anymore. And like uh, I miss that. I miss that
That makes sense.
sandwich. I miss it.
Um,
There's nothing like just like sitting and there's like island dogs sitting next to you, so they're getting all the scraps, or like you walk into the ocean with a Hanano beer and like an Ashe Fruit sandwich.
oh,
Like
that does sound good.
so good. So good.
I think that like as well, I wonder. This is one of the things I wanted to ask as well, which was whenever you were younger, did you get sent with a lunch to school?
I did.
One was it a sandwich?
Yes.
What did you have?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Hell yeah.
And like usually like it was either like cheese or peanut butter and jelly. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd get like ham sometimes, a lot of some chicken sometimes. But like, I think that's what put me off sandwiches for years afterwards. Like, and don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
No,
It
it's
was
just like
just,
eating the same thing every
oh,
day, and you're like, I can't.
drove me insane, but
Yeah. Like one
yeah.
time for like 3 years, our dad made us cream of wheat. Do you guys
Hmm.
have cream of wheat?
We have similar things, yeah.
Okay. So it was like, it's like, I don't know what to describe it as. It's like,
It's kind of like porridge. It's not quite like
yeah.
porridge, but it's not
Yep.
too dissimilar.
Yeah. And it was like 3 years of that. And finally I was like, I'm getting kind of sick of this. And he's
Yeah.
like, you said you liked it. And I'm like, that was 3 years ago. And he's like, oh. Then he made me eggs for like 3 years or whatever. So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, it's like repetition in food. I some I like it and I'll eat it until I don't want to eat it anymore, and then I won't eat it like for like,
Yeah.
a decade or whatever. So I get you.
Yeah, I love it. So like, do you have anything else you want to chat about with sandwiches? I do have a final question for you before we move on, but if not, I will go ahead with my question.
I guess like, do you know of any sandwiches in like regions that you haven't tried that you would like to try if you were traveling?
That's a good question. I think a lot, like, and I have been lucky to travel a lot, so I have tried a lot of the ones that I've been curious about. I think I am still eating seafood. I would love like a kind of like um East Coast like lobster roll or something like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
It's something I've always been curious about to get a really kind of nice, fresh, good quality lobster roll because I think I've had versions of it that weren't quite it, and I hear that whenever it's pretty transcendent experience when you have a good one.
Yeah. I would say like for me, I miss the soft shell crab sandwiches
Hmm.
from um North Carolina.
Yeah,
And like, I don't know if you ever had those when you were there,
I don't
but
think I did
like,
now.
so this is disgusting. But basically, like the crab molts, and as
Hmm.
it's molting, like the shell gets really soft. So you'll
Yeah,
find these crabs, and they're kind of like in this state of like transition,
yeah.
and you harvest them, and then I don't even know if you take out all of their internal organs or not,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
you basically like clean them up, deep fry them, put
Hmm.
them on a sandwich with like lettuce and tomato, and it's so with their little legs hanging out, right? And it's
Wow.
so good. Like a soft shell blue crab sandwich. Oh my God.
Madness, that's mad.
Yeah. That's been like I had one when I was this is probably like, I don't know, 15, 16, 15 years ago
Hmm.
on Coney Island with my aunt and uncle when we were visiting, and it was like, oh my God, it was heaven. Mike was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "This is a thing. This is a thing. You don't even know."
I think because I've had like soft shell crab sushi
Okay. Yep.
before, but I don't think I've ever had it like that. That's interesting. Um, okay, so my final question is KFC have an item called
Just
the
deep
double.
fat fry it and put it on some bread. And then it's like, yeah.
Okay, KFC have an item called the double down. Oh no, no.
Sorry.
It's quite all
Are
right.
you back?
I'm back. I'm
Okay.
back. I'm back. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You get
Okay.
to edit the shit out of this.
That's fine.
Sorry.
It's no problems. I'm writing down the timestamps
The times.
roughly.
Okay, good.
Oh, need to do a burp. Anyway, okay. All right. Starting again here in a second. So, my final question for you is the KFC have an item called the double down. Is that a sandwich or not? Do you know what a double down is?
Now I gotta Google it. I mean, Mind
It's
Palace.
two fried chicken breasts with
Oh.
bacon and cheese in the middle of it.
Mm. Hmm.
Hmm.
I would call that a sandwich.
Interesting.
I think when
Interesting.
you have a vessel that's like so
Containing items
containing
between it.
things, yeah, then that I would say that that would count. What
And there you
about
have
you?
it. And there you have it, folks. I like it. Yeah, I like it. I think that's the definitive answer on sandwiches, which is what we were kind of like seeking this
Yeah,
whole time, right?
yeah, yeah.
Love it.
I guess can you hold it in your
Oh,
hand?
oh yes, you can. Oh, you
Yeah,
absolutely
then
can.
then yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
I
greasy
would qualify.
nightmare, but you
We're
absolutely
gonna
can
get so
hold.
much hate mail over this.
Oh, I mean, for a variety of things, but like, what's new? But I mean, hey, that's all attention. That's all attention,
Right,
Beth. That's
right,
what we want.
right.
I love it. Okay. In that case, we can move on to our final wee section of the podcast, which is what's been bringing you joy this week.
I went on a date
Uh-huh.
on Saturday night,
Okay,
and it was like
interesting.
the worst date I've ever been on.
Tell me more.
We went down to Little Italy in San Diego, and like I guess I just didn't realize San Diego in the summertime is like a whole different level of
Like in
craziness.
Santa, I suppose with all the tourists and things like that there.
It took us 35 minutes to find parking. And
Yikes.
like at that point we should have just like pulled the ripcord and gone to places that we know better, but we're like, no, let's go out. And like we went to the airport bar that I took you to,
Hmm.
where the airplanes like fly
Oh
overhead.
yeah, rules.
But like like we found a parking garage that was the first place they wanted to charge us $32 for 4 hours for parking. Mike's like, fuck that, like I can find something else. So drive around 35 minutes, find a parking garage. Uh and they were like, well, you gotta like walk the stairs because the elevator's broke. And I was like, oh, this is like, because it's gonna be that kind of night, right? You already know. Like there were lines everywhere. The people sucked. Um, the food was mediocre at the Italian restaurant.
God.
Yeah. But really, like, I had the best time on the worst date ever.
Nice.
And so I'm just like I haven't seen a lot of Mike recently because he's traveling all the time. So even though it was the worst date I've ever had, we still had so much fucking fun
Good.
and like making fun of everything and everyone and like the situations that we were in and like just yeah, he's a good
That's
dude and
good.
he brought me some joy.
I love it. That makes me really happy to hear. Um,
How about you?
so over the past few hours, what's been bringing me joy, a lot of joy is I've been playing a RoboCop video game, right?
So cool.
And it's like it's such an insane game. And it's like it's just not what I expected at all. What I love about it is, all the kind of like doing RoboCop stuff, going around shooting people. There's all that, of course, that's the core of the game. But also like when you are in areas, you're in missions, so you're in part of like old Detroit for some of it, and you can like give cars parking tickets, and you can like give people tickets for it's amazing. You can just be this like real fucking busybody cop, and like there is one of the
You're like, I
missions,
want to be a meter maid
right? And I just love that level of
and
insanity.
a robot.
One of the missions is your partner Lewis gets shot, and you, as RoboCop, are walking around the station getting everyone to sign a get well soon card for her. And I'm like, what am I? This is like some sort of, as I described it to my friend earlier, it's like a fascist fever dream, and I love
It's
it.
amazing. It's amazing.
Role playing being a cop. I
I
mean, it's I
still
have mixed
remember
emotions.
totally. I remember the end of that first RoboCop
Yeah.
movie where he's like dying and but he also kills the bad guy that was in uh that show.
Oh yeah, the big guy, the sort of boss of
Yeah.
OCP boss. He shoots him out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
It rules.
excellent, excellent.
Absolutely incredible movie.
I
But
love
yeah,
that like that's what you're choosing to do. If you're like, if I was a robot cop, I would be
just
having
gonna
people sign get well soon
say give all the swing cards,
cards,
and
handing
I,
out some for parking tickets.
I also in my head canon, as you're walking around, you're finding like all these like stolen handbags and stolen jewelry. So I like to imagine in my head that whenever like RoboCop is like shaking down somebody for like an asbo, like he's like wearing like jewelry and like he has handbags off both arms and things like that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Does
But
he
yeah,
like hit people with them?
oh, fantastic. So yeah, so I love it. So. All right. So Beth, could you tell everybody where they can find us?
You can find us at bendypodcast.com.
Yes, you can.
I'm also started posting on TikTok again, so
Oh, hell yeah. Oh
I
God.
know. I know.
Godspeed.
I needed a break, but we're back. We're back.
We are.
So
I love it. All right, folks. In that case, as always, we'd like to remind you to stay
stay
bendy.
bendy.
Nice. Sound was
Yes,
appropriate.
Totally. I'm gonna
All
go eat
right.
one now. Bye, everybody. We love
Bye. We
you.
love you.